That 5-carbon molecule has another name, and this is going to be the hardest to write with my pen. I'll do the best I can. It's called alpha, okay, just like you would expect, keto, K-E-T-O, glutaric, wrote that pretty well, G-L-U-T-A-R-I-C, acid. All one word except for the acid. So alpha-ketoglutarate acid has 5 carbons. Again, we got to that point by pulling off a carbon and joining it with oxygen to make carbon dioxide. All right, now there's another arrow over here above alpha-ketoglutarate acid. So when we make that change from citric acid to the alpha acid, we also lose some hydrogens. And remember from the glycolysis vodcast who those hydrogen ion carriers are. That's our old friend NAD+. That's the bus to pick up the hydrogens. And when it picks up hydrogens, is now NADH. So not only have we made a molecule of CO2, and going from 6 to 5 carbons, we also made a molecule of NADH. Okay, pulled a hydrogen off of citric acid, added it to NADH, and NADH is going to shuttle it to where it needs to go. All right, on to the next step. I'm going to erase just a little bit so I can fit in the next step here. I'll just leave alpha to remind us of what that one was. Okay, the next step is going to be making a 4-carbon molecule. Mark that in red again. Okay, so that's what this rectangle represents. The name of that 4-carbon molecule is succinic acid. S-U-C-C-I-N-I-C. Succinic acid. Okay, so that goes in this box right here. Again, to go from 5 carbons to 4 carbons, we lose a carbon to carbon dioxide. So that's what this box right there is, CO2. You can see there are also 2 other arrows down here underneath the cycle representing things that are made as we go from alpha-ketoglutarate to succinic acid. One of them is the hydrogen carrier again. So NAD pulls a hydrogen off of alpha-ketoglutarate acid and forms NADH, so we have another hydrogen carrier. And by this point we've broken enough bonds that we've actually made some ATP. So there's another product in this step. Remember, ATP is formed by adding phosphate to ADP, or adenosine diphosphate. Okay, we're halfway through the cycle. The next molecule we make, right here, is called fumaric acid. F-U-M-A-R-I-C, acid. And this is actually a 4-carbon molecule, so we haven't removed any carbons to make this. So it's a little bit different than the previous steps. But we do make a new molecule that is a hydrogen carrier that we haven't talked about yet. And it's called FADH2. And it's formed from the carrier FAD+. So this is unique in that this one makes 2 hydrogen ions, or carries 2 hydrogen ions. So 2 hydrogen ions are taken off of succinic acid, stuck onto FAD to make FADH2, and in the resulting other chemical reactions that take place, or chemical transformations, we make this fumaric acid. Now I like to compare FAD to like a coach-sized bus, right? If NAD is the school bus that carries a hydrogen around, FADH2 is the coach bus because it can carry 2 hydrogen ions around. So it's a little bit bigger bus for transporting more ions. But essentially it does the same thing as NAD does, carries hydrogens to where they need to go. Alright, one more box to fill. This box right here is oxaloacetic acid, OXALOACETIC acetic. And again, it's an acid. It also only has 4 carbons, so we haven't changed the carbon number again. But we do create one more hydrogen ion carrier, and it's an NADH again. So this is NADH, and this is NAD+. Alright, so in order to get from fumaric to oxaloacetic, I'm going to pull off a hydrogen, attach it to NAD+ to make NADH. There are other chemical transformations that take place, but that's the one that I really want you to know about. Alright, so we filled in the entire cycle. Now I want to point a couple things out to you. First of all, you can see over here that we have a 4-carbon molecule in oxaloacetic acid. We have a 2-carbon molecule in acetyl-CoA. So hopefully you can see now where this 6-carbon citric acid comes from. Okay, we add the 4-carbon oxaloacetic acid that is at the end of the cycle to the 2-carbon acetyl-CoA that came from the pyruvate in glycolysis, and we get a 6-carbon citric acid. So as long as pyruvate continues to feed the citric acid cycle with the 2-carbon acetyl-CoA, this cycle will happen over and over again as long as there's acetyl-CoA to keep it going. The other thing I want to point out to you is, again, this is only half of the products that are formed for each glucose. For each glucose, we would actually form 2 ATPs, right? Because we'd have pyruvate going through the cycle twice, 2 pyruvates from a glucose. We'd actually have 2 FADH2s. The carbon dioxides that are produced, we have 1 up here, 2, 3, and we take that times 2 for each glucose, for a total of 6 carbon dioxides produced per glucose. So whenever you're looking at how many products are formed for the citric acid cycle per glucose, you have to take all these products times 2. Again, the boxes here with all the acids, I'll highlight those real quick. So the citric acid, the alpha-ketoglutarate acid, succinic acid, fumaric acid, and oxaloacetic acid, they kind of keep getting recycled. They're not really products of the citric acid cycle because they're just carbons that get used over and over again as long as the acetyl-CoA keeps on coming. So our main products are the ones I just talked about, the ATP, the FADH2, the carbon dioxide, and then of course the NADHs. So we're making hydrogen ion carriers, the NADHs, and the FADH2s, and we're making a little bit of ATP, as I said, in this cycle. And then we're also making waste products, so the CO2 is considered a waste product in this example as well.